So for today's video, my groupmates and I will be presenting to you the different ways on how to separate mixtures. So first off, we will be naming these ways on how to separate mixtures. Then we will show to you the different procedures on how to conduct it. So let's start! A mixture consists of two or more substances that are mixed but are not chemically combined. This means that they do not have well-defined specific properties, and its components can be separated by physical means. There are two types of mixtures, the heterogeneous and homogeneous. A heterogeneous mixture does not have the same components throughout. This means that they are not uniformly distributed, and its components can be distinguished from each other. Meanwhile, homogeneous mixtures have the same components all throughout. This means that they are uniformly distributed, and its components cannot be distinguished from one another. So let's now present to you the 11 ways on how to separate mixtures. By definition, paper chromatography is used to separate one color from a mixture of colors. These are the materials needed for paper chromatography: straw, different colors of marker, cup with water, ruler, clips, pencil, cutter, and of course, the filter paper. The first step is to cut the filter paper into a strip. After which, create dots using the markers and label them. Get your cup and clip the filter paper in the straw. Place it now in the cup and observe. That's how paper chromatography works. Filtration is commonly the mechanical or physical operation which is used for the separation of solids from fluids or liquids and gases, by interposing a medium through which only the fluid can pass. These are the materials needed for filtration: flour, funnel, glass, container with water, filter paper, spoon, and measuring cup. The first step is to place 1 cup of flour into the water. Stir it thoroughly so that it will get dissolved. Get your filter paper and fold it until you form a cone. Then place it in the funnel and then pour your mixture into it. The filter paper separated the water from the flour. Crystallization is a process which separates a pure solid in the form of its crystals from a saturated solution. Sedimentation is the process by which the insoluble heavy solid particles settle down their own in a solution. In order to separate the two, the liquid has to be gently poured into another container without disturbing the sediments. These are the materials needed for crystallization and sedimentation: alum powder, hot water, different colors of food coloring, glue, eggshell, paintbrush, and cups. For the first step, we'll be needing the eggshell, alum powder, glue, and paintbrush. Get your fully dried egg membrane, place glue all over it, and spread it using a paintbrush. Place alum powder all over your egg membrane. Be sure to cover all of the spaces. When you're done, tap it so that the excess will be removed. Repeat the steps to your other eggshells. Store your eggshells in an unreachable area and let them dry overnight. When your eggshells are fully dried already, get your container and pour 1 cup of hot water into it. Get the food coloring and drop it into the hot water. Drop any amount depending on your preference. Be sure to stir it thoroughly. Get your measuring tool and pour 2 tablespoons of alum powder into your mixture. Get your steering tool and be sure to steer it until all of the alum powder are dissolved. Repeat it to your other dies. Place your eggshells when they're already cooled down. We have to set them aside for 3 to 8 days. Unfortunately, ours wasn't done yet, but this is the expected outcome.
Hand picking. This method involves simply picking out all unwanted substances by hand and separating them from the useful ones.
This method is what we frequently use in our daily life. The advantages are, it is easy and simple way of separating mixtures. It does not need any equipment to proceed, and it takes very less time when dealing with small amount of quantities. The limitations of hand picking are, it cannot separate all heterogeneous mixtures, and it is a very time-taking process when dealing with large quantity of mixtures. This is the example outcome when you're using hand picking method of separation.
Precipitation. This technique is used to separate mixtures based on the solubility of its substances.
To perform this process, you will need a funnel, coke, small bowl, plastic bottle, and a milk. First, you need to open the coke and transfer it to the plastic bottle. Then, transfer a small amount of milk on the small bowl. Get the funnel and mix the milk on the coke. After pouring the milk, make sure to close the plastic bottle. This will be the appearance of the mixture, and you need to wait half an hour to get the result. This is what you get when you do the process of precipitation.
Evaporation. It is used to separate homogeneous mixtures where there is one or more dissolved solids. This drives off liquid substances from the solid substances.
To do this, you have to have a salt and a glass of water. First, put the salt on the glass of water and mix them together. Be sure to dissolve all the solid substances. Pour the mixture on the pan and wait for it to boil until all water evaporates completely. This is how you do the process of evaporation.
Winnowing. Winnowing is the method in which heavier components of the mixture are separated from the lighter substances with the help of wind. This method is used for separating grains from husk after the process of threshing.
Advantages and disadvantages of winnowing. Advantages. This method doesn't require any machines for its functioning. It is completely based on human activity and hence, it takes less time to process and definitely very cheap. Disadvantages. This process does not work for materials heavier than grains like stone.
Sifting and sieving. Sieving is a separation technique based on the difference in particle size. The sieve is responsible for retaining the larger particles. It is used in flour mills or building sites. Impurities such as husks and stones are extracted from wheat at the flour mill. They remove pebbles and stones from sand through sieving.
Advantages and disadvantages of sieving. Advantages. Sieving is a traditional and very easy method of separation since it doesn't require much of your skills. It is a cheap method as the installation cost is very low. It takes lesser time in comparison to the other methods of separation. Disadvantages. It cannot separate two substances in a mixture that have the same size. For example, it cannot separate a mixture of chalk powder from flour. Several factors have been identified to influence the operation of this unit, including the size and shape of particles relative to the sieve aperture, the mesh size of the sieve itself, the amount of material on the surface of the sieve, the direction of movement of the sieve, and the rate of material movement.
Magnetism. The materials needed are sands, nails, plates, and magnet. Magnetism is the power to attract. It refers to the attraction to iron and metals in electric currents and magnets. Magnetism is caused by the motion of electric charge. Every substance is made up of tiny units called atoms. Their movement generates an electric current and causes each electron to act like a microscopic magnet.
Decantation. Have you noticed that if we go into the river, lake, or sea, the water becomes turbid, and it is difficult to see your feet, however, a little while. If the water is left undisturbed, the mud settles down and the water becomes clear again. We need soil, water, and glass. Make a mixture of soil, water in a glass. Since soil particles are heavy and do not dissolve the water, they start to settle at the bottom of the glass. Keep the glass undisturbed till all mud particles settle down. This process by which heavier and insoluble particles settle down is called decantation.
So those are some of the ways on how to separate mixtures. For recap, we had presented to you crystallization, sedimentation, vapor chromatography, filtration, precipitation, evaporation, hand picking, winnowing, sifting or sieving, magnetism, and decantation. Thank you for listening. Until the next one.